31, I'll go ahead and call this meeting to order and ask for approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Was that Thad?
Yes.
Okay, thanks, Thad. We have a second.
I'll second.
Who was that?
Jody.
All right, thanks, Jody. All right. All those in favor, roll call, please. Kelly.
All right. Tamara DePonio.
Here. Present.
And you're okay with the agenda?
Oh, is that? Oh, yes,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, you're fine. Kyle Mosier,
Yes.
Thad Taylor,
Yes.
Jody Walter,
Yes.
James Boudry,
Yes.
Bruce Allen.
Yes.
Is Ken here, did you say?
Not yet.
Okay. And Annie Jacobson.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Kelly. Thank you all. Moving on to public comment on agenda items. I don't see any public present. So I'm going to move on to approval of minutes from the January 13 regular meeting and special meeting. So I don't know if we need to do these separately. I'll, I guess, wait for the motion and go from there. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thanks, Jody. Is that for both meeting minutes?
Absolutely, yes.
We're moving along nicely this morning. Is there a second?
This
I'll
is
support that.
supported.
Is that James?
It was Thad and Bruce.
Okay, Bruce, you got it. Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please, Kelly.
All right, Annie Jacobson,
Yes.
Bruce Allen,
Yes.
James Boudry,
Yes.
Jody Walter,
Yes.
Thad Taylor,
Yes.
Kyle Mosier,
Yes.
Tamara DePonio.
Yes.
Motion passed 6-0.
Thank you. Moving on to financials. Before I ask for approval, is there anything that the board or staff would like to comment on or ask questions about? Okay.
Kyle, there's some invoices that need to be approved, January and February. So Christina, if you guys have questions, she has all those invoices, but there's a high dollar amount to get those approved and some outstanding. So we're continually just trying to make sure that we're caught up on all the past invoices that haven't been paid.
Are these all budgeted items?
Yes, I believe that they are. The city invoices are for the dumpsters. There's 3 of them there. So that has a $67,316.01 total. There's pavers, which is $94,9650. And then there's painting, which I assume is the planters because it says ornamental iron, either that or the trash bins last year, and that's $96.20. So those were reimbursing the city.
Okay. I know the trash bins got done. I'm not sure about the planters. Maybe that was for everything.
And I don't know if they got all of the planters, but there were some planters.
Okay. Thank
No,
you, Christina.
Yeah, and those are January. February is more, all the insurance policies are due. So we have 4 policies with the DDA, and they're for different things. So whether there's a volunteer accident, a director and officer liability policy, a general liability policy, and a vacant building policy. And so they all total $2,030 for the year.
Okay. Thank you, Christina. I would entertain a motion for approval or ask for any comments or questions.
Just a question, do you want to approve a motion to approve the financials and then the individual invoices, or is this all gonna be under one?
I think we should approve the invoices separately,
Okay,
and we can do January and February together.
then I'll move to approve the financials from January 2020.
Thank you.
Support.
From Bruce, motion from Thad, thank you. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please, Kelly.
Okay, and just to confirm on the financials, it's actually January 2021. Okay, so I'm just going to change that motion to
Oh.
January 2021.
Good, thank
Okay.
you. Actually, Christina mentioned that, thank you.
All right, Tamara DePonio,
Yes.
Annie Jacobson,
Yes.
Kyle Mosier,
Yes,
Bruce Allen,
Yes.
Thad Taylor,
Yes,
James Boudry,
Yes.
Jody Walter.
Yes.
Okay, it passed 6-0.
thank you. Moving on, at this time, I would entertain a motion to approve invoice payouts for January and February.
Make that motion. Let's get them paid.
Thank you. James,
Second.
second from Tamara.
Yes.
Thank you, Tamara. Any discussion, questions?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I'm looking at the packet right now, and I don't know if it's just not loading on my computer or if there's a couple of them missing. I don't know if that matters or not.
I had an issue with one of my PDF softwares and I had to open it up differently, so
Okay.
we had the same issue.
I don't know if that's needs to be mentioned or not, but just wanted to bring it up.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, roll call, please, Kelly.
All righty. James Boudry,
Yes.
Bruce Allen,
Yes.
Jody Walter,
Yes.
Thad Taylor,
yes,
Tamara DePonio,
Yes.
Kyle Mosher.
Yes,
Okay, passed 6-0.
thank you. Moving on to committee reports. I just want to say something about committees, subcommittees, whatever, and this isn't profound or anything, but I was just thinking that it might be helpful just to remind people that the idea of these subcommittees is that they bring recommendations to the full board, and I think sometimes we kind of get bogged down in the formality of them, sort of like these meetings. And although we do have to be formal and keep minutes, the idea is that they're open discussions and opportunities for kind of a work session. And ultimately, we want the subcommittees to do that and bring ideas and suggestions to the full board. So I sometimes forget about that, but it'd be nice if at every meeting, every full DDA board meeting, that we would see some sort of recommendation. We always see reports, but recommendation to the board for some action. So I wanted to just mention that was something I was thinking about, and thank everybody that is involved in some of these subcommittees. And if you aren't, would encourage you to find one that might fit your interests. So unfortunately, we don't have Ken yet. So if you guys are okay with it, maybe he can join us later. I don't have anything to report for design. So maybe if we can skip past that and move on to business development.
So I will take that one, Kyle. Just want to let everyone know that work continues on our Entrepreneurial Day, which is set for March 25th, Thursday night, and during the day, March 26th on Friday. We have a full slate of speakers. So we have one kind of keynote for an hour on Thursday night, 3-hour session with workshops on a Friday morning, and then the SBDC is going to do 3 or 4 Supposed to have details nailed down on that this week from Annie Olds. And we'll have those details down for really quick 3 or 4 35-minute presentations. So once we get that in, Christina's already done all the some of the marketing pieces to get ready to roll once we have some definitive answers there. And so it's looking really good for that presentation. All will be virtual. So that will be the other piece that makes it a lot easier. I have met separately with Madeline Fitzsimmons on the September Spark Light event, which will focus on e-commerce and internet solutions for existing and potentially new businesses. So we had a good conversation there. We will have another meeting of the Business Development Committee next week, next Wednesday morning. So that's on the schedule. Agendas to go out later today once I can do a little bit more work on that. And then I should have said also, we have a meeting in January, which is very productive. So we had a conversation about stepping up and taking on more roles for the September Spark. So that concludes what we have for you. If there are any questions, be happy to answer. And I also just want to thank a number of board members participated in this committee, and I'm very grateful for that. So Tamara, Ken, James, Jody, all of you, thank you very much for giving me your time to work together on those items.
Any questions for Mark? Thank you. Gateway Development Ad Hoc Committee. Mark, do you want to take that?
If it's okay with Thad.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's pretty brief. We have been continuing on our progress with negotiations. And so there have been, the Chamber facilitated one meeting with the developers. We also, the city put another meeting together on financial discussions. So we have been working towards this, but we don't have anything definitive yet because we're still within negotiations with the developers. So there is some new news here that we can relay to you. The state's environmental agency, EGLE, has announced a Brownfield Grant program. They have money in their Brownfield Grant programs, and the city will be applying for a grant related to this project. So a significant sum of money. We'll see. The letter of interest is supposed to go in soon, and then we'll see if we get a full request for proposal. But you know, the city is doing a great job working on and advocating for this, and it's important that we continue to have these meetings and discussions. So it's been a lot of work. We just don't have a lot of solid progress as of yet.
Kyle, if I could just add, you know, our Brownfield consultant is going to get something in a timely fashion. And it looks like we might be eligible for $1 million grant and a $500,000 loan. There is a lot of interest from EGLE, and what I'm hearing through Mark and Stacy, that there's even probably a higher level of interest with MEDC about this project. So we got some good backing from state agencies.
That's good news.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions or comments for these guys? Thank you both. Appreciate it. Moving on to director's report. Stacy.
So I'm not going to say a whole lot. I'm kind of going to turn it over. I've been given, Christina's kind of taken more of the lead on a lot of the day-to-day stuff. So I will turn it over to her, and then Mark can report if he has any updates on economic development.
Thank you.
Good morning. We are just processing and getting all the processes in place with accounts payables and also deposits and getting all those systems streamlined and smooth. So things are going well. And once we catch up, it should be fairly easy and smooth sailing moving forward. As for the merchants, the meetings are still continuing, very informal, but they are reporting normal sales for January and February, very slow. Of course, we know the situations on the restaurants, but they're making do as they can. Trash or refuge and recycling going to be a big issue the next 2 weeks. The bins will be picked up this week, and the new procedures start next week on the 15th, Monday. So kind of staying on top of that and answering questions. The city was great about putting the letter right on the front page of the website. So that's easy accessible for all. So if anybody calls, I link them right back to the city website. So thanks, Thad.
You're welcome.
And Mark is joining us next week at the merchant meeting to discuss the Lakeshore project and get merchant input.
Christina, what's the general consensus from the merchants on the refuse?
Cost seems to be their biggest issue, especially on the Vogue end. I'm hearing a little bit of pushback there because they're not a restaurant, but they're at that restaurant rate. Recycling is going to cause a little bit of an issue as well, but I think we're just going to have to play it out. Some are fine, and some are vocal that they're not. It's not their favorite option.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kyle, if I could make a comment, I just wanted to give a shout out to Christina, and I guess, I don't know if Mark and Stacy got involved, but when the city was considering putting outdoor dining in the parking spaces, I got a call from a business owner, and was very, very supportive of the process and enlightened me as to the importance of having restaurants open and an increased level of service and what that means to the businesses up and down the street. So I asked Christina, we talked about it, and she put together a very simple 3-question survey and got it out, had a phenomenal response, and it was overwhelming support for taking up parking spaces to increase traffic in the downtown. In my years in local government, it's the first time I've ever heard merchants say take away parking. So that was kind of refreshing. So just wanted to say thanks to Christina and whoever supported her. I thought it was a great effort and got us some really good information.
Can I kind of jump in on that comment real quick?
Please.
I just have a question. I haven't had the opportunity to talk to Tara and Tavo, but I'm just wondering what's going on with their little curbside situation. I'm all for taking up parking spaces, but it doesn't look like they're utilizing them. Does anybody know if they have something coming, like igloos or something? Go ahead, Mark.
Christina, do you know anything from Tara first before? But I do know an answer. Okay. Tara reached out, and they were planning on having heaters for the spot, and they're having some problems getting those together. And so they're working on that and hope to be utilizing that soon. So she did reach out and give us a status, but it's a supply chain and ordering issue, which I'm sure.
And I just, thanks, Thad, for having the DPW act on that so quickly.
Yeah, that was an easy solution.
Cool. Okay, moving on to economic development. Mark?
Okay. Just in short, briefly, there's been a lot of work on some of our existing projects. And so the gateway's taken a good deal of time, which we referenced already, but also wanted to let you know, I'm sure you've seen the news that Ted Fricano closed on the Boathouse Grill is now Fricano's on Manistee River. We will have a good deal of work moving forward on this project for probably the next 6 months or so with assistance for Ted. We're going to sit down soon and have some discussions about land acquisition for the deck, the land underneath the deck with the city. There's also some other pieces there that we're assisting Ted with. He's hoping to get started on demolition. He's meeting next week with an interior designer. So we're very happy that he's at that point and moving forward, but we'll have to do a good deal of work for that. The redevelopment ready communities recertification presentation went well last night. And I think, you all have survey links to help prioritize which sites should be the top 6. Bottom line is the MEDC will assist the city with marketing and other approaches to get to some of these high priority sites. So think about the high impact value that we have. There are a number of DDA properties that are significant. Northern Hotel, the Vault, River Street Station, which is now is now with a realtor for a listing. So all of those, and of course, the Chamber of Commerce building is also for sale. But all of that is moving forward. You can prioritize that. Please look at a link, email from me yesterday. Thank you to Christina for helping me with the survey. It's really good at that. Okay. Last piece, we had a really good city council report on economic development last week. Went really well. And so we're putting the word out there and having a lot of positive interactions on economic development. So that's where we're at.
Could I ask Mark, what was there were some properties on the redevelopment ready list that are carryovers that, have, where there are developers lined up for, like the livery and the dairy, right? And there were some that weren't on the list. What was the logic for, because it was difficult to vote on them because I thought some of them were taken care of.
That's right. So let me tell you how I approached that. Because of the need for MISTA funding on the livery and on the Jones Dairy building.
Okay.
I wanted to put that on there just in case and hedge our bets. I'm typically a fairly cautious person, so I wanted to hedge our bets on that one. But I did a second thing, Bruce. I reached out to the owners and asked them for their permission. So everyone on the list has been contacted, either a realtor with the listing or the owners themselves. And on the livery property, the owners said, no, thank you. I want to stick with this, stick with the developer. It's under option. I want to stick with it. On the Jones Dairy building, the owners said, yeah, sure, put it on there. It couldn't hurt. So I went with the owners and reaching out to everyone. And it kind of gave me a sense. There were a number of properties I think are really good ideas that I reached out to and learned that the owner just wasn't interested or had something cooking they didn't want to have the opportunity in public, in the public forum. So that's why we ended up with those 10. There were a few that are honestly really good properties, but they have something going and didn't want to put it up.
Could I ask, what's your sense of the priority?
Sure. I did not present a straw man last night to go with, but if I were to look at that, I certainly think that the Northern Hotel, the Vault and River Street Station combined are at the top of the list for redevelopment. Would certainly help with our downtown. The Chamber property is right across the street from the proposed Gateway project, and so I think that lends well to a phase 2 for either for the developers or someone else. So we're then getting to 4 or 5 there. I also think it's important to do something with the US 31 corridor. And so there are a number of options there. The glass factory, 3 vacant properties just north of the Memorial Bridge, and the family video. Any one of those could be a priority for redevelopment, kind of beautify a corridor where, you know, the reason why the gateway is so important is because, you know, you need to beautify where people are, right? You meet people where they are. Or our corridor can certainly use the work. And so that's why there is a few of those properties. I hope that's a good solution.
Yes, thank you.
That would be my straw man. And that's my own personal interest. That's nobody else's, just so you know. That's just that's why I think of it.
Mark, what's the glass factory?
64 Arthur Street. And so if you think about where the old little Caesar's building is, it's across the street from that.
Oh, Glass Specialties. Okay. Sorry.
I don't know why. I think that's in some of the literature as Glass Factory. So yeah, Glass Specialties. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And I spoke to Tim. I finally got a hold of Tim. I just happened to catch him on the 2 hours he was in the building when we got. So he's for it, and so we put that on the list.
Okay. Cool. Any other questions for Mark? Cool. I see Ken's joined us, and before we get to old business, thanks for hopping on, Ken. Do you have a minute to give us a quick design committee update, Ken?
Yeah, I can do that. Barry Lind actually shared with us all the old files that he had. So I had those as of yesterday, and I started going through them to see what was there. In design committee, we talked about platforms. We talked about a whole bunch of other things, including stuff that Kyle and I talked about meeting to maybe put together a presentation to bring forth to council to get their support for some of the things we discussed in design committee. And we had talked at one point about having a standard set up for platforms, so we could either produce platforms and then rent them, or otherwise provide specs to vendors or businesses that wanted to place platforms into the street. My hopes leapt when I saw a file in Barry's files that said platform plan, but other than mentioning the word platform a couple places, it doesn't really lay out a plan for the platforms. So we do have some starting point, but I'm just coming up to speed on everything that was there, and I will keep everybody informed.
Wonderful. Thanks, Ken.
Sure.
Any questions?
Sorry I'm late, by the way.
Oh, that's okay. Any questions for design? Okay, then moving on to old business. Item A, status of city email addresses for boards and commissions. Thad.
Yes, Ed Bradford got those set up. I think he sent them to Stacy, and I think I don't know where she's going with it from there.
Okay.
Yeah, Ed did send me the addresses. Just to keep in mind, the chamber uses Google Drive. So because this is a Microsoft platform, we're going to have to probably do a SharePoint so that the board can access all the documents on SharePoint. So that's something that staff will have to set up. So once we get that set up, we'll get the email addresses out to you. We just got to figure that out. I was hoping it would be compatible with Google because we already have all that set up, but we'll figure it out, and we'll make sure that we can streamline that and get that over to the board so they can start using their email addresses.
Yeah, and from the city's perspective, the reason we're doing this, have city email addresses for all board commissions, is that we can archive all the emails, and if we have a FOIA request, they're easily retrievable. So once you get your city email, I would ask that you, if you have DDA business and using email, use those city email addresses.
And then we will have one standard director email. So that'll go to all correspondence with Mark, Christina, and myself. Because we didn't want to have to manage 3 additional email accounts. So we're just doing one. So keep that in mind also. And we'll send out an email with all the details and everything, hopefully next week with all that information.
Great, thank you, Thad and Stacy. DDA budget for this next fiscal year, 2021 and 2022. Tamara, Bruce, and Stacy, do we have a report on status for that?
Yep, I can jump in. We met with Ed Bradford and kind of went over the format, what needs to be submitted to City Council. So there does need to be a cover sheet and kind of talk about specific projects within the next fiscal budget, and then going through getting that budget all prepared. So we do have a meeting scheduled, I believe it's next Thursday, with the group, Tamara, Bruce, and myself, to go through that again, and then we'll get the draft budget to you guys at the next board meeting in March for approval. Unless you want to see it prior to that, let me know.
Okay, I think it'd be good to see it before. We only have one meeting before it goes to council, right?
I think it goes to council at the end of March, so yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we can, after next week, if you want me to get it to the entire board, and if we need to schedule a special meeting to kind of go through everything, we'd be happy to do that.
Okay, let's I guess just send it out and see.
Okay.
Cool, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on to new business accounting services request for proposal submissions. Stacy.
So we've discussed the last couple meetings and approved to go ahead and submit an RFP. So we did receive 2 proposals, and you should have those within your packets. So I'm hoping we can, that everyone had an opportunity to review, and if there's any questions, that we can approve one of those and move forward. I think it would align well with obviously working on our budget for next year. So I didn't know if anyone had any questions on that, or one of the accountants is the firm that the chamber uses, and the other one is actually a new firm that is actually a new chamber member. And Christina, if you have questions on that one, she'd be happy to ask, but they're both, the current one that the chamber uses is more local. So we're hoping, like Christina said, to streamline some of the processes. So I think that that may be an easier option, but wanted to get the board's feedback and see if what your guys' thoughts on those 2 proposals.
Stacy, if you or Christina, whoever, could kind of highlight how do they compare based on what they submitted?
Well, the Richards and McDougall's, it's $400 a month. So that's kind of a standard rate. So I think that's easier to calculate because we're not sure based on just an hourly rate how much financial services we'll need. So it's nice to have a standard rate monthly so that we can kind of get in the groove of, you know, what needs to be completed monthly in regards to the DDA. So the other ones, I believe, Christina, I think it was $40, or do you have that proposal handy? It's, I think that one's based on hourly. And right now with us just coming in September, I'm not sure what, you know, how many hours go into that monthly just yet.
I would jump in real quick. I don't know if everybody knows that my wife is a CPA. And I would stick with the $400 a month. If anybody calls the CPA, especially one on an hourly rate, you know, I don't know if they're going to do us favors, but you know, I can see that ticking up. I don't see an hourly rate being a benefit. I like the standard $400. That way, if you have questions, you need help, you need somebody to do training, somebody to take over your computer for a little while to work on, you know, the budgets or anything in QuickBooks. I don't know what exactly you guys are using, but I would stick with the 400. That's just my opinion.
Stacy, it's $60 an hour, just so you know.
Yeah, so,
Yeah, stick with 400.
yeah. So,
Anything else, Stacy? Okay. I would entertain a motion at this point if anybody's interested in making a motion for one of these.
Are we making a motion to pick one or just to move forward with Stacy and the chamber choosing one?
I think we would need to approve a new contract
Okay.
for services.
I'd make a motion to stick with the local firm, McDougall, for the, for my reasoning being the $400 a month. So
Support that.
Okay, so the motion from James, support from Bruce. I'll just make one comment just to clarify that we were not using Richards and McDougall before, James. So we're not staying, we're moving to them. So any other questions or discussion? Okay, hearing none. Roll call, please. Kelly? Nick, you there, Kelly? You're muted.
Sorry.
Thanks.
Tamara DePonio,
Yes.
Kyle Mosier,
Yes.
Thad Taylor,
Yes.
Jody Walter,
Yes.
James Boudry,
yes.
Bruce Allen,
Yes.
Kenneth Urban.
Yes.
Motion passed. 7-0.
Kelly, I didn't get a chance to vote. Could you put me down as a yes vote as well?
I'm sorry.
No problem. Thank you.
Annie Jacobson.
Yes.
Thanks, Annie. Thank you, Kelly. And thank you, Stacy, Christina, for working on that. Appreciate that. Okay, I guess moving on to public comment, not seeing anybody. Stacy, public?
no, I think is there direct deposit agreement under new
Oh, I'm
business?
sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
I apologize.
That's okay.
Item B under new business, agreement for direct deposit for City of Manistee funds.
Yeah, so we just wanted to discuss with that. Heather Peffley had sent me a form, and I just wanted to take that to the board to get approval for that. It's in the packet to have any of the disbursements for the TIF funds go directly into the DDA's account. I think that would be an easier way to streamline some of that. Our accountants are going to be checking that monthly and reconciling everything, so we'll know that. It creates less time going to the bank and some of those kind of different ways of doing things. So we're just trying to lessen the administrative work. And if we can file that form, get that taken care of, that just goes directly into the DDA's account.
That's just a disbursement from city to.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. I don't see that as an issue.
If you need a motion, I'll make that motion.
Might as well.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion from Thad, second from James. Thank you. Discussion? Hearing none. Kelly?
Okay. Annie Jacobson,
Yes.
Kenneth Urban,
Yes.
Bruce Allen,
Yes.
James Boudry,
Yes.
Jody Walter,
Yes.
Thad Taylor,
Yes.
Kyle Mosier,
Yes.
Tamara DePonio.
Yes.
Motion passed 7-0.
Great. Thank you. Thanks, Stacy, sorry for skipping over that.
Okay, thanks, Kyle.
Yeah. Moving on to public comment and moving down to comments by board members.
I just provide one point of clarification. I mentioned that that Kyle and I were talking about working on something to present to City Council. What we're specifically talking about was developing a request for City Council to support a streetscape redesign and update. So I just wanted to provide clarity on that because we felt that if we had the backing of City Council, that would help us that would improve our advocacy position as a DDA to make changes and upgrades to the streetscape. So that's specifically what Kyle and I were talking about. So
Thanks for the clarification. Anybody else? Has the temperature come up at all? All right. Everybody's cold this morning. All right. Moving on to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Thad.
Second.
Thanks, Tamara. Thank you all. Have a great rest of the week.